We are over 20% through the 2026 NBA season. Honestly, the season is flying by. So today I want to give you guys my updated 30-team NBA power rankings. This is the first time that I've done this here in a YouTube video since the season started, and we're going to be going from 30 to 1 today. Would love to know what you agree with or disagree with in the comments below. Do you think I'm ranking your team too high or too low? I'm sure I'm probably ranking your team too low. And let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with the number 30 team, the Washington Wizards. In my opinion, we expected the Washington Wizards to be bad this year. Even their GM Will Dawkins said in the offseason during Summer League that they were not cutting corners. They don't want to maybe have this magical playing tournament season. They wanted to go through the trials and errors. Their first round pick was top 8 protected to the New York Knicks, so they were trying to keep their pick at all costs. They did have a nice win against the Milwaukee Bucks the other night, but this team is the worst ranked defensive team in the NBA. They're a bottom 3 offensive team. They are dead last in the NBA in terms of net rating right now. They've had some bad losses this season because they're playing just a ton of young guys out there. Yes, CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton have been solid vets for this team, but you're seeing a lot of Alex Sarr and Keyshawn George excel in year number 2. But you're seeing kind of Trey Johnson before the injury go through some of the growing pains. You're seeing Cam Whitmore take a lot of shots. Bub Carrington is really struggling so far here in year number 2, at least around the rim. He has been a positive 3-point shooter. Bilal Coulibaly can't really hit a shot right now, but he can defend. This team is still young. They were expected to be bad. I'm not sure when this team is finally going to be done rebuilding because they've been one of the worst teams in the NBA ever since they traded Bradley Beal back in 2023. They are just tanking for either Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBanza, or Darren Peterson right now. Yes, their future will look a lot better if they land one of those guys, but they've been in this spot before. It's just a crapshoot when you get to the lottery. And a team that's kind of been on the rise, but I still have them here at 29, the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I think the Brooklyn Nets have been more competitive this year than the Washington Wizards. They do have one more win than Washington this season. Brooklyn is also a bottom 3 defensive team. They are a little bit better offensively because of what Michael Porter Jr. has been for them on that end of the court. MPJ this year has been averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. I'm reading fake trade articles where they have them getting like 3 key players and 2 first-round picks back for Michael Porter Jr. If he's seriously going to go for that much at the deadline, Brooklyn should walk him to the airport. This team, like Washington, wants to play their young guys as well. You're seeing a ton of Yegor Dorman. You're seeing a ton of Ben Saraff, Danny Wolf, and Drake Powell as of late. They're still trying to find ways to get Nolan Traore acclimated to this team. And honestly, some of the rookies have shown some flashes. I've really enjoyed the Yegor Powell and Danny Wolf minutes as of late. Noah Clowney is knocking down his threes. And honestly, this team is better when Cam Thomas is off the court. I expect them to field calls for Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, Terrence Mann, and those guys this season. So probably after the February trade deadline, this team is going to get worse. So yeah, I have them coming in at number 29. So the team coming in at 28 is a little bit different than the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets. Those 2 teams own their first round pick. So yeah, you could probably guess it. Coming in at number 28, I have the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that doesn't even own their unprotected first round pick this year. I'm sure Pelicans fans are sick of hearing it. At least Derek Queen has shown plenty of flashes this year to get excited about his future in New Orleans, but Zion Williamson just suffered another injury this year. It wasn't the first one, and he's going to be out for the next few weeks. This team is currently 3-18. They are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're the second worst defensive team in terms of defensive rating, second worst team in terms of net rating in the NBA. 3-18. That is horrible. You do not own your first round pick. Could Joe Dumars get fired in his first year as the main decision maker in New Orleans? This could be a fireable offense. I don't know what risk management department they have over there in New Orleans, because why would you ever trade away your unprotected first round pick when your star player can't even stay healthy? Your starting point guard DeJounte Murray was going to miss the first half of the season. You were terrible last year, and that really hasn't changed. They have a extensive injury report yet again. Jordan Hawkins, Herb Jones, Karl Makovich, Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, all currently hurt. And yeah, like I said, Zion is also going to miss the next few weeks as well. This has been a really scary team for all the wrong reasons here in New Orleans. They're definitely the worst team in the Western Conference right now, in my opinion, but pretty close to them. I do have these Sacramento Kings here coming in at number 27. Honestly, the Kings and the Pelicans, I thought could be at least a little bit better than their expectations going into this year. I thought they could have maybe flirt with the play-in tournament, maybe a playoff spot if everything goes well. No, the Kings have been an utter embarrassment this year. They are currently 5-16 at the time I'm recording this. They're the 3rd worst team in terms of net rating. And honestly, I knew this team was going to be bad defensively. They're the 6th worst team defensively. I thought at least they could be a top 12 team offensively. No, they're 28th out of 30 NBA teams in terms of offensive rating when you're paying Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis. You even brought in Russell Westbrook to help you on the offensive end of the floor, and it is not working out whatsoever. The Sacramento Kings are right up there with the Pelicans as maybe the more embarrassing teams this year, but at least for Sacramento, they own their first round pick in the 2026 draft. I expect them to be a big fire sale team at the deadline. I expect everybody not named Keegan Murray, Andy Clifford to be made available in February. Coming in at number 26, I think this team is better than their record shows. I have the Indiana Pacers. So nobody really expected the Pacers to be this bad when the season started. The reason why they are 4-17 right now is because of injuries. Yes, we knew that Tyrese Haliburton was going to miss most of the season, but Johnny Furphy, Aaron Nesmith, Obi Toppin, even guys like Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard have been plagued by injuries all year long. They recently just beat the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards. They had a 2-point loss to the Toronto Raptors and a 5-point loss to the Detroit Pistons. So I do think this team is playing better basketball as of late as they just get any more healthy than they were at the start of the year, because they have already played 22 different guys this year. We've seen Ray J. Dennis minutes, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Garrison Matthews, Monte Morris, Ethan Thompson minutes this year, and it just hit December. So yeah, I have the Pacers at 26. They're going to be a fascinating team to look at in the offseason. We know they want to add another center, although Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson have looked solid this year, and they're most likely going to be getting a top 5, top 10 pick in the NBA draft. And imagine they're able to add a premier prospect to Tyrese Haliburton next year. They could definitely be back in the finals in 2027. Coming in at number 25, I do have the Utah Jazz. This team has actually been exceeding expectations so far this year. They're 7-13 right now. They actually had the lowest win total projection this year since the Trust the Process Sixers basically a decade ago. So they were supposed to finish as the worst team in the NBA, but Keontae George has looked like a most improved candidate this year for Utah, averaging about 23 points and 7 assists. Lauri Markkanen is averaging 28 points a night, and they're doing this with basically only getting 5 games out of Walker Kessler. I've really enjoyed the Ace Bailey minutes this year. I think Isaiah Collier still looks really good here in year number 2. Bryce Sensabaugh could still be a good shooter at times. Yeah, it's maybe been a little bit disappointing in the Walter Clayton minutes or Taylor Hendricks and definitely Cody Williams. I'm not really sure if they're going to send off some of their veterans at the deadline. Could they move a Svi Mykhailiuk? Could they end up moving a Yusuf Nurkic or Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson as well? I'm not really sure if any of those veterans really have much of a market. It all depends if they're going to move Lauri Markkanen or not, because Lauri's a great player. He could be a great player for them next year, or they can get a haul for him at the 2026 deadline. Coming in at number 24, when I'm recording this, they're technically the 14th seed in the Western Conference, and they're giving the best team in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, a top 5 pick. I have the LA Clippers. Now, I also think the Clippers are slightly better than their record shows. I don't think they're as bad as a 5-16 team, but you could see they are desperately missing Norman Powell, who is balling out for the Miami Heat. This has been a disastrous start for the LA Clippers this year. I legitimately thought they could compete for at least a round 1 or maybe even a round 2 series win this year. I thought they were the 3rd best team in the Western Conference last year when they lost to the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. I didn't mind the acquisition of John Collins. I thought maybe Chris Paul could be something for them, or Brook Lopez, but no, this team looks old. They don't have great depth. They've been hit by injuries this year to Bradley Beal and maybe their most important defender on the perimeter in Derrick Jones Jr. They didn't fire Ty Lue after that Miami Heat game. I wonder how much longer of a leash he's going to have this year in Los Angeles. It is crazy, though, that this team could legitimately give OKC a top 5 pick in the draft, because we're not going to talk about OKC for a while in this video, and they're going to own the Clippers first rounder this year. It really is the NBA's doomsday scenario. Coming in 1 spot ahead of the LA Clippers, I wanted to put them higher. I have the Charlotte Hornets coming in at number 23. This team is currently ranked 22nd in the NBA in terms of net rating, 24th in defense. They are a little bit better, though, 19th in offense with their injuries to Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball this year. That is an encouraging sign. They did just lose to the Brooklyn Nets, and if I want to graduate them from maybe the bottom feeders in the Eastern Conference, you need to beat teams like Brooklyn, and they've also had their fair share of injuries this year. LaMelo, once again, is dealing with ankle injuries. We knew that Grant Williams was going to miss some time this year. Brandon Miller already dealing with shoulder issues yet again. Trey Mann has been hurt and not great this year. Josh Green has missed some time as well with the shoulder injury. I'm loving their incoming rookie class, though. Kalkbrenner, McNeely, Sion James have all showed flashes this year, and obviously Con Knippel, who is my rookie of the year right now. I think they should try to sell high on Miles Bridges if that's even possible this year at the deadline. I do like the acquisition of Colin Sexton as well. I hope this team can end up as like maybe the 10th seed. Like, let's get playing tournament basketball in Charlotte. It is realistic. They're only a few games out of the 10th seed right now. I just need to see them be better defensively. Coming in at 22, they just had their best win of the season against the Denver Nuggets the other night, the Dallas Mavericks. So the Dallas Mavericks have been talked about a ton this year. year. They've already parted ways with Nico Harrison, who made the Luka Doncic trade. Now, Anthony Davis has also missed some time this year with a calf injury, which is a shame because he looked so good against the Denver Nuggets the other night. He looked like the Anthony Davis, Nico Harrison thought he was acquiring from the LA Lakers. Cooper Flagg is really starting to find his stride here as a scorer in this league. Back-to-back really good scoring games against the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. They're an elite defensive team. They're top 5 in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, but they are dead last offensively. Nobody could really dribble the basketball on this team right now, and they are desperately missing Kyrie Irving. I still think they're going to be a respectable team all year long, as long as they don't have some type of fire sale. Derek Lively and PJ Washington have also missed some time this year. I just hope to see this team at full strength, and I don't know if we ever will, because they may trade Anthony Davis. Coming in at number 21, this team started off 5-0 this year, and now they're about 9-11 when I'm recording this. The Chicago Bulls, who are now a bottom 10 defensive team and offensive team in the NBA. Josh Giddey still looks like he could be a first-time All-Star this year. He's still averaging around 21 points, 9 assists, and 10 rebounds a night. Montes Buzelis has struggled at times this year, hitting a little bit of a sophomore slump, but has had some good games this year. That's encouraging for the Bulls' future. Kobe White recently came back, and he's been a solid offensive player. Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, Isaac Okoro, and Patrick Williams have been knocking down their threes. Now, Patrick Williams is its own other issue right now in Chicago. But yeah, this team is pretty much as we expected. They're not good enough to really be considered a playoff team whatsoever or take them seriously as one, and they're not bad enough to pretty much be at the bottom of these power rankings, basically where they've been in years past, just not where you want to be in NBA purgatory. Coming in at number 20, I have the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that really hasn't had much production out of their best player this year. Ja Morant has either been bad or hurt. He's currently dealing with a calf injury right now. Basically, every Memphis Grizzlies point guard is hurt. Javon Small is hurt. Scottie Pippen Jr., Ja Morant, and Ty Jerome are all on the shelf right now. But Cam Spencer has honestly been one of their better guards. Vince Williams has had some really good passing games, although he can't really knock down a shot. Even Jaren Jackson Jr. has been slightly disappointing with him coming off that new contract extension, but Cedric Howard has looked great as a rookie. Jalen Wells got off to a slow start, but he's finding his stride as of late. And Zach Edey has kind of been a revelation since he came back. He has been so dominant inside. In the 8 games he's played, he's averaging around 13.5 points, 11 rebounds, 2.3 blocks a night. He's looking great in his sophomore season. And Memphis has been a respectable defensive team. They've really just struggled offensively this year. No Desmond Bane, he's in Orlando. Triple J not really living up to expectations off that extension, and Ja Morant has kind of been all over the place this season, but they're pretty much in line where I expected them going into the year. Now, this is where we get into kind of like that lump of Eastern Conference teams. Coming in at number 19, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. I do think the Sixers are a little bit worse than their record shows. They're about 11-9 on the year, but they've lost to teams like Miami, Orlando, and Atlanta recently, so I don't know if I could really put them in kind of like that tier 2 Eastern Conference conversation. And I also really can't trust their core whatsoever because Paul George and Joel Embiid have pretty much been unreliable with their health status this year. Paul George has missed 14 games. Joel Embiid has missed 12 games. Embiid does not look like the same Embiid when he's even been out there. Thank God Tyrese Maxey has looked like an all-star starter this year, averaging over 32 points a night, 7.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. We've gotten some really good minutes out of VJ Edgecombe, but I don't want him to get like overtaxed in his rookie year. Already playing 36 minutes a night as a rookie. Quentin Grimes could definitely be in the 6th man of the year conversation, but this team definitely lacks depth. And when Paul George and Embiid are not giving them reliable minutes, they definitely lack that secondary shot creator next to Tyrese Maxey. I think they're going to end up in the play-in tournament though. And one spot ahead of them, I do have the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this is kind of a completely different team when Giannis isn't out there. Yes, Philly just recently beat Milwaukee, but Giannis wasn't playing. Also, Giannis just like scrubbed his social media. I don't know what's going on with that. Either way, the Bucks this year have pretty much been league average offensively, but they are a bottom 10 team defensively. They're 9-13 on the year. They just lost to the Washington Wizards by 3 to go to 9-13 on the year, with Giannis Antetokounmpo playing in that game. Really embarrassing performance from the Milwaukee Bucks. Their defense did not look great. Washington was hitting all types of shots. Ryan Rollins has been kind of a cool story this year. He could be your most improved player right now. They've gotten some good games out of Kyle Kuzma. KPJ recently came back. Miles Turner's been fine. AJ Green has been a great 3-point shooter, basically shooting 50% on threes. I just have them in kind of that same tier as Philadelphia. I think they're going to be a playing tournament team. I'm not taking them seriously as a playoff team though right now. We'll see if they make a trade to maybe get some help around Giannis. or maybe they go the other way. Coming in at number 17, I want to put this team higher. They've also had some key injuries this year, the Portland Trailblazers. You can make an argument no team has played the Oklahoma City Thunder better this year than Portland, but they've been a bottom 10 defensive team this year. They've been a little bit worse than league average offensively, and this team's production really started to slip when Drew Holiday went down. We know that Damian Lillard was going to be out for the year. Scoot Henderson had a setback as well, and you can really see this team's weak bench kind of coming to life this year. We've seen some Javonte Cook. They're asking a lot out of Sidy Cissoko, Caleb Love, and Blake Wesley when he's been healthy. And yes, Deni Avdija looks like a first-time All-Star this year, maybe an All-NBA guy. Shaedon Sharpe got off to a slow start. He's still struggling with his outside shot. He's been better around the rim. Jeremy Grant could be in the Sixth Man of the Year conversations. Tumani Kamara got off to a slow start as well. I would say relative to expectations, Portland has been kind of underperforming. I do think this team will get better as the season goes along, and I could see them finishing a little bit higher than this ranking by year's end. Maybe one of the more disappointing teams this year, the Golden State Warriors, who I have here at number 16. Golden State has been a good defensive team, but a bad offensive team. They're pretty much right around league average net rating wise, and they're abysmal when Steph Curry misses some time. Jimmy Butler has been asked a lot to step up as a number one, and this team is old, and it's looked old when you look at the injury report. Jimmy Butler has been dealing with a glute injury, Steph Curry with the quad injury, Draymond Green with the foot injury, Al Horford has a sciatic nerve, DeAnthony Melton, Trey Jackson Davis, and Alex Tui all have knee injuries as well. Now, they've gotten really good production this year out of Moses Moody as a three-point shooter, out of Will Richard, who's a second-round pick, but Jonathan Kuminga has not really been living up to the expectations they had for him going into the year, just averaging 13 points a night. And I feel like it's just inevitable that we're going to see Kuminga traded this year. I could see Golden State not making a move as big on the scale of like Jimmy Butler from last year, but I think they can go out and trade, or try to, for a guy like Michael Porter Jr., Trey Murphy. Some people throw around the Domantas Sabonis idea. I don't really like that one. And it might be another tough deadline for Mike Dunleavy, who's probably going to get the pressure to make a move to try to do something around Steph Curry in one of his final elite years in the NBA. Coming in at 15, I have the Boston Celtics. I think the Boston Celtics have been pretty good this year. They're actually a top 5 team this year in terms of offensive rating. They're about league average defensive rating, and they're 11th in the NBA in terms of net rating, all without their best player in Jason Tatum. I think Jaylen Brown has really stepped up as a good number one option for this team. Jaylen Brown on the year is averaging 28.5 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting about 35% from 3 and 49% from the field. Peyton Pritchard kind of struggled to start off the year, but has been stepping up as of late. Same with Derek White. You never really know what Anthony Simons you're going to get, but I've really enjoyed the Neemias Queta center minutes. I think Jordan Walsh has taken a step defensively this year and is also shooting 48% from the field and 37% from 3. Josh Minot has been a good role player for this team, and they're not really getting great production out of like a Sam Hauser or an Xavier Tillman, who's kind of getting DNPs right now, but I think Boston has been competitive. Maybe they look to trade away Anthony Simons for a center at the deadline, and this team may actually get Jason Tatum back quicker than we thought. I've also enjoyed Hugo Gonzalez's defense as a rookie so far as well. I think one of the bigger shockers this year, the Phoenix Suns are coming in at number 14 for me. I did not expect this whatsoever. They're almost a top 10 offensive team in the league. They're pretty good defensively, 14th in the NBA and 13th in terms of net rating, a team that I thought could lose over 50 games this year, and they're 13-9 right now because guys are stepping up around Devin Booker. Grayson Allen is shooting about 44% from 3 and averaging 18 points a night. Dylan Brooks, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 1.7 steals, 46% from the field. He just went toe-to-toe against Luka Doncic in LA and won the game convincingly for the Phoenix Suns. The Suns have been good this year without Jalen Green really playing. He's only played 2 games this year. Colin Gillespie has stepped up. He's been one of the best storylines, shooting 44% from 3. Mark Williams, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, and Jordan Goodwin have all provided the Suns valuable minutes this year. I think Jordan Ott deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, and the Suns could definitely make the playoffs. They don't own their first round pick, so they're really hoping that whoever gets their first rounder in the swap that it's in does not get a lottery pick. And this team, I think right now, can definitely make the playoffs. I feel like they're going to be a high-end playing tournament team because I like them more than Memphis. I like them more than Dallas and the Clippers because I like those teams more than Phoenix going into the year. I think Golden State should end up better than Phoenix, maybe Portland as well, but Phoenix has 100% proven me wrong. Coming in at number 13, I have the Toronto Raptors. Now, that one may sound a little bit weird because they're currently tied with the Miami Heat for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're 14-7 by the time I'm recording this, ahead of their game against the Portland Trailblazers. So they may end up being 15-7, and maybe I'm having them too low. But I think we're also now in that second group of Eastern Conference teams. I think you have like Boston, Philadelphia, Milwaukee kind of in their own tier right now, and then you have Toronto and then the other East teams we're about to get to. Toronto this year has been elite defensively. They're a top 5 team in terms of defensive rating, and Scotty Barnes just won Defensive Player of the Month. Brandon Ingram has been a viable #1 option for this team. Emmanuel quickly has really been knocking down his shots as of late. Jakob Poeltl, when he's out there, is such a good screen setter and rebounder. Mamu looks like one of the better free agency pickups, and Colin Murray-Boyles has just been a rock-solid defender. He's been efficient behind the three-point line and around the rim. The Raptors play hard. They play extremely physical. I do wonder if this team is going to make some type of trade this year. I do think there's a great chance they could finish as a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, a spot a lot of people didn't really have them going into the year. A team I like slightly more, the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are currently 13-9, about a game and a half back of the Toronto Raptors right now. They are 7th in the Eastern Conference, all without their best player in Trae Young, or maybe now their second best player, the way that Jalen Johnson has been playing. Jalen Johnson definitely looks like a first-time All-Star this year. 23 points, 10 rebounds, and now 7.3 assists a night, 1.6 steals. And a big thing with Jalen Johnson going into the year, how good was he going to be as a three-point shooter? 41% from 3 this year on 4 attempts a night. His teammate, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, could be joining him in the All-Star game for the first time in his career. Nas averaging 20 points, 3.5 assists, shooting 39% from 3, 86% from the free throw line, and about 46.5% from the field. He's been incredible, and this is pretty much with like Kristaps Porzingis being slightly disappointing this year, Zachary Reese-Hachey being disappointing, and Dyson Daniels shooting 16% from 3, who is still leading the NBA in steals. I think the Hawks are going to be able to put this team together fully when Trae Young comes back, and if they aren't playing well when Trae comes back, maybe they actually think about trading him. Coming in at number 11, I have another team in the Hawks division, the Orlando Magic, a team like Atlanta who got off to a slower start, who have been playing some fantastic basketball as of late. Desmond Bane has stepped up as maybe the #1 option since Paolo Banchero went down with that groin injury. It's kind of funny because the Magic and Hawks both got off to slower starts. Both of their best players went down, and like Atlanta, Orlando has been playing slightly better since Paolo Banchero ended up getting injured, which is going to be a very interesting storyline when Paolo comes back. How does this team look with its floor spacing in the half court? But they've been getting some really good production this year out of Jett Howard, out of Jace Richardson in the limited time he's been playing. I think Jace has been better than Tyus Jones. I think Tristan Da Silva has been one of the better sophomores, and Anthony Black is taking that leap here in year number 3. He's going to be a huge X factor for Orlando when it's all said and done. And we got 3 Southeast Division teams in a row. Coming in at number 10, I have the Miami Heat, a team that is not really running any pick and roll this year. They're operating a ton out of isolation, a lot of shot creation individually, and they are the 12th ranked offense this year for a team that was probably expected to finish outside the top 15 in terms of offense. They're the 3rd ranked defensive team this year, 5th in net rating, and they just got Tower Hero back. The Heat just recently blew out the LA Clippers. They lost by 3 to the Detroit Pistons. They recently beat Milwaukee, Dallas, Philadelphia. They're just taking care of business right now. Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell have all been huge contributors to this team this year. Like I said, they recently just got back Tower Hero, who's been good overall for them. Jaime Jaquez could win Most Improved Player. Khalil Ware has been one of the best rebounders in the NBA, and they're getting good production out of Simon Fontecchio, Davion Mitchell, and Pele Larson. I think Spo has done it again. He might get his first Coach of the Year award this season. One spot ahead of Miami at number 9, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that's kind of been off to a weird start. There's been some good, there's been some bad. They've been really bad at times in crunch time this season. They had some really bad losses to like the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings and the Oklahoma City Thunder. 3 games they definitely could have won, but then they did close out some good games against the Boston Celtics and the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, this team is going to be led by Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle has stepped up this year as a #1 when Ant missed some time earlier in the year, and his numbers still look good overall this season. Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo have been fine complementary pieces. Naz Reid is knocking down his threes again. Gobert is a good defender. This team desperately needs an upgrade either off the bench or just another point guard to handle the rock, because Mike Conley and Rob Dillingham just isn't really cutting it at this point in their careers respectively. And this one might sound crazy to some people. Coming in at number 8, I have the Detroit Pistons. Yes, the 17-4 Detroit Pistons I have at number 8. Now, it's because I wasn't as high on the Pistons going into the year as a top 10 team. They've taken care of business this year. They've been an elite defensive team. They're right up there, number 2 in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, but they're about league average offensively. Their starting 5 has had a negative net rating this year, and I do wonder how Jaden Ivey is going to be implemented back into the swing of things. It's been kind of a slower start for him since returning from his injury. This team doesn't have many good 3-point shooters on the roster. It's really just Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, and then you're relying a ton on Isaiah Stewart and Dennis Jenkins, because Cade has kind of been inconsistent from 3 this year. But yeah, this team can defend. Jalen Duren is taking a leap. Cade Cunningham looks like he could be an all-NBA guy yet again. Maybe I just don't want to be too reactionary, but 17-4 is an amazing record. I just think the East is a little bit of an inferior conference to the Western Conference. That's not really a hot take there. And I still think when it's all said and done, when we get to the playoffs, I still like two other teams in the East over Detroit right now. And one of those teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are coming in at number 7. The Cavs won 64 games last year, and I know it's not been a great start for them this year. Their offense was number 1 in the NBA last year. It's pretty much number 10 this year. They're 11th in defensive rating, about 12th in offensive rating. I'm sounding the alarm a little bit in Cleveland, but they've had a lot of injuries this year. Darius Garland, who is the engine of this offense at times, has missed some injuries this year. Lonzo Ball has kind of been struggling. Jarrett Allen is going to miss some time. Max Strus hasn't played this year yet. Larry Nance Jr. has been bad and hurt, and Sam Merrill is hurt right now with a hand injury. They've gotten some really good production out of some non-lottery picks in Jalen Tyson, Naquan Tomlin, and Craig Porter Jr. But yeah, this team desperately needs to get healthy again, and I think at full strength, I still like them to compete in the Eastern Conference. Last year, Donovan Mitchell wasn't taxed this much because so many other guys could really handle this offense, including Ty Jerome, who's no longer here. And Donovan Mitchell, with his higher workload this year, has been hitting those expectations. 30 points, 5.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. He has been the life of this Cavs team. We need to see Evan Mobley be a little bit better offensively. I still think when the Cavs are fully healthy, they're one of the best teams in the East. Coming in at number 6, they are dropping right now, and if you want to have them below Detroit, Minnesota, or Cleveland, that's fine with me, the San Antonio Spurs. But the San Antonio Spurs are still 7th in the NBA in terms of net rating, with Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama hurt. You can make an argument that's the first and third best player on this roster. I think when the Spurs are going to be at full strength, this is still one of the better teams in the NBA. I just want to see a good sample size with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, because Fox missed some time at the start of the year. He comes back, Wemby goes down. I think Dylan Harper is going to be a star in this league one day. Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Julian Champagnie have been good 3-point shooters for this team as well. I think San Antonio ends up making some type of notable move at the deadline. Coming in at number 5, though, this is a team I don't think is as good as their record shows, and that's the LA Lakers. They're currently 15-5, second in the Western Conference, but they are currently 14th in the NBA in terms of net rating. So this one's a little bit fishy. Now, I do want to respect the Lakers because Luka is having an amazing scoring season. Same with Austin Reeves, and LeBron just came back. DeAndre Ayton has been a solid center for this roster, but I just wonder if they're going to hit a wall at some point as well. They recently lost to the Phoenix Suns. They beaten the teams that they were supposed to beat this year. I still think they're ways away from the number 1 team in the Western Conference that we're eventually going to get to. I would actually love to know your guys' thoughts on the LA Lakers. Do you think that they are a top 5 team right now, or do you think they're eventually going to come back down to earth a little bit and finish between the 4 and 17 in the Western Conference? Coming in at number 4, I don't think I'm biased for this one, but I do have the New York Knicks. I still think the Knicks are the best team in the Eastern Conference. I know they aren't the 1 seed like the Detroit Pistons right now, but they've been an elite offensive team this year. The defense has been all right. It is slipping a little bit with OG Anunoby out, but it's still been solid. They held the Raptors to 94 points, the Bucks to 109. And honestly, if you hold somebody under 110 points in the year 2025, that is pretty good. Jalen Brunson has been averaging close to 30 points per game this year, and this is all with Karl-Anthony Towns really not being all that great this year. Josh Hart has really stepped up since the OG injury and since entering the starting lineup. Miles McBride has been knocking down his threes as well. It sucks Landry Shamet recently got hurt with that shoulder injury, and hopefully they're going to get back OG Anunoby. I did like the Knicks as the team to beat in the Eastern Conference going into the year. I don't think that has really changed right now. There's still so much time left this year. But yeah, my top 3 teams, all Western Conference teams. Coming in at number 3, I have the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets are currently ranked 6th in defense, 2nd in offense, and 2nd in net rating. Kevin Durant can miss some time, and this team can go out and beat Phoenix and beat Golden State, all without Kevin Durant, who has still looked like a viable number 1 scoring option this year, averaging 25 points. Şengün and Amen Thompson have been great complementary pieces to Kevin Durant. Reed Shepherd could definitely be in the 6th man of the year conversation. Tari Eason is shooting 50% from 3 this year. And Aaron Holiday has stepped up. Josh Okogie as well. And Steven Adams is still the best offensive rebounder in the NBA. I do wonder if the Rockets make some type of trade this year. They have Fred VanVleet making $25 million. Now, he does have a no trade clause, so we'd have to waive it, but he's giving you 0 production this year. So would you think about trading Fred VanVleet for a player that can help you in Kevin Durant's age 37 season? They have some intriguing draft capital to give up. I wonder if they're going to make that move. Coming in at number 2, though, they just recently lost to the Dallas Mavericks, so they solidified slid a little bit in the standings, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets this year have been unreal offensively, the best offensive team in the NBA, and they've been about 20th in defensive rating this year, so they are sliding a little bit there. But Nikola Jokic is just putting up a casual 29 points, leading the NBA in rebounds with 12.8 a night, and leading the NBA in assists with 11.1. He's shooting 43% from three, basically what he was doing last year, he's doing this year. Jamal Murray is looking like he could be a first-time All-Star next to Nikola Jokic for the first time in the Joker's career. Christian Brown was solid around the rim, but struggling from three. He's currently banged up right now with a ankle injury. Cam Johnson got off to a slow start, but he's coming around. Aaron Gordon has been good when he's been healthy, but he's currently hurt. Peyton Watson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Spencer Jones, Jonas Valanciunas have all stepped up for the Denver Nuggets this season. I still think this is the second best team in the NBA and the biggest threat to the best team in the NBA, to which, no surprise, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'm recording this ahead of their Golden State Warriors game, but when I'm recording this, they are 20-1. 20-1. They were 18-1 before Jalen Williams even played a single game this year, their second best player. Now, they recently lost Isaiah Hartenstein. We know that Thomas Sorber is going to be out for the year. Topic is missing some time right now. Lou Dort and Alex Caruso are also out against the Golden State Warriors. So this team has had some injuries this year. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having one of the greatest scoring seasons of all time. 32.5 points per game on 54, 41, 88 splits, and he's averaging 1.8 turnovers a night. Just 1.8 turnovers. That is insane. 6.5 assists, 5 rebounds. AJ Mitchell has come out of nowhere and has turned into a great scoring option for this team. They are by far and away the best defensive team in the NBA. They have incredible depth. So even if all these guys are hurt, Aaron Wiggins will step up, Isaiah Joe will step up, Kaysen Wallace will step up, even Brandon Carlson will step up as well. This team also has a ton of draft capital if they wanted to make any type of trade at the deadline. They're a top 5 offensive team, the best defensive team, like I said, best team in the NBA in terms of net rating. They legitimately have a shot at beating the 2016 Warriors 73-9 record this year. It's insane. So that is gonna be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. If you did enjoy, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know if you guys do enjoy the power rankings, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.